What? Yeah, well, what if I told you that there's a way that Nintendo could make Star Fox relevant again? How about that? Okay then. Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time we're going to be questioning what exactly it would take for Nintendo to make Star Fox relevant again. What would they have to do in order to bring the series back to relevancy and have it be consistent, have it be selling very well, perhaps make the best-selling Star Fox game of all time, and have it be a popular franchise, and not force us to wait another 5 or 6 years to get another Star Fox game? Well, I have a few different ideas. Now, first what they should do is not do Star Fox Zero again. I do not want that. I do not want them to reimagine the initial story for like the 4th time. We've had enough of that. We got Star Fox 64 3D, we got Star Fox Zero. These are all reimaginings of the original story. We do not need it again, especially with Star Fox Zero. That was quite a disappointment. It was a low-budget title, it was short, the controls are frustrating, and there was not really any form of actual multiplayer that we wanted. It was disappointing. The next Star Fox game shouldn't be that. It should be something else. And if Nintendo were to take the safe route, they could go ahead and just sort of modernize Star Fox 64, but with a different story, not retelling the original story again. And when I say modernize the game, I mean in terms of controls and graphics, not the actual structure. The structure in terms of going from one level to another with these on-rail flying sections, I think that should stay the same. I think the ability to have branching paths to see different levels and maybe even have a different end to the story is a very cool component to the Star Fox series, and that should stay the same. That is really awesome. So I hope that maintains with the next Star Fox game. But they also need to make sure that they bring in online multiplayer. This is something we've wanted for years, and they need to do it. We want our space, air, flight battles, our dogfight battles online. Give us that. That's something we really want, and it would be amazing to see. Maybe they could do a great job of giving us a very robust online portion of the game, and it could perhaps even be comparable to what we're getting with Splatoon, but obviously a space flying shooting version of Splatoon. I think that could be amazing. It could give the Star Fox series a lot of potential in terms of sales and longevity and popularity. I really do think that's a very simple way Nintendo could take the series and make it relevant again. I think that could work out beautifully. But there's another thing they could do if they really wanted to go big. If they wanted something bigger budget, something incredible, something highly ambitious. I'm very excited just thinking about the prospect of it, and I think it could happen. So what am I alluding to here? Well, I'll just tell you straight up. I'm talking about basically doing Starlink again, but have it actually be Star Fox with the Starlink sort of style. Starlink is a game where it's an open world, or rather open space game, where you can fly freely through space and transition seamlessly into different planets, explore them, check out the wildlife, and sort of figure out what's going on with these different worlds. But what's cool about this game is that they also added Star Fox content. You can actually fly around as Fox McCloud and his R-Wing, both on the planets and in space, and I think that's really cool. And also what's really interesting, there's this kind of mechanic in the game where there's this ongoing war, an actual ongoing struggle that goes up and down throughout the game, depending how you're supporting your bases and how you're taking out fleets and different things throughout space and on planets. What's interesting about this is that this is basically an evolved idea of what we saw back on Star Fox 2. You see, in Star Fox 2, the actual map select screen, the level select screen, it wasn't just levels or planets you could actually see and select and go into, but also there were fleets and missiles that you could apprehend as well. There was actually sort of like a real-time war going on the level select screen, and they sort of fleshed this idea out in Starlink, with an actual war going on all throughout the game. So if Nintendo were to take the ideas of Starlink and make it to a whole new Star Fox game, it could be amazing. One of the issues with Starlink though is that the gameplay is a little bit repetitive, and there's not really too much exploration beyond just seeing a whole bunch of weird cool looking stuff, but there aren't like side quests and characters and cities to explore. What if they were to take this whole sort of open world solar system mechanics and engine and turn that into the Lilat system and have us actually explore Lilat system planets like Coronaria? Imagine going into the hangar of the Great Fox, jumping into your R-Wing, flying out, going through an asteroid belt in space, then dealing with Starwolf because they've been following you, then evading them and going into Corneria, visit the town, do some side quests, meet General Pepper in person, actually walking around, and then all of a sudden there's a giant asteroid attack and you have to defend the city. And then you fly out, go back to the Great Fox, and you move on to another planet, or do whatever you want to do to sort of balance out this battle between whoever you're dealing with. If it ends up being Andros again, that would be fine. I'm completely okay with recurring antagonists in Nintendo games. It happens all the time. So if Andros finds a way to be resurrected, I'm completely okay with that. Maybe it'll be his second nephew's grandson or something instead, and he'll take on the same name. That's also okay too. The point is, Starlink has a lot of potential. I think they really hit it home with this open world space environment with all these different planets, and there's a lot of really cool things to do here. But imagine making it the actual Star Fox world, giving you more to do, giving you actual access to exploring the different cities and towns that we've seen in the different Star Fox games when we defended them, but not actually being able to explore them in the past, but now we could. And while we're on the subject of doing things a little bit differently from Starlink, firstly, I would like to see them actually take some cues from Star Fox Assault and give us some on-foot segments. At least having the ability to get out of your ship for some side quests, say when you're exploring cities, to have a more intimate experience of the game, or maybe also having the ability to explore the Great Fox and maybe just check around the hangar and then board your ship in some sort of cool fashion. That would be really nice to see, just to give us a way to explore the world in a more intimate way. I also think it would be important to include some on-rails segments in the game. On-rails flying segments in the different Star Fox games are kind of a big part of them, and I think that should maintain in this new Star Fox game, whatever it is. So perhaps while you're pursuing your main objective, you can enter some sequences where it's no longer an open world, where it may still appear and look like an open world, but you'll be flying on an on-rail sort of sequence, because that would sort of remind us of the old Star Fox games and bring back some of that classic gameplay. That would also be really nice to have. And another thing we all want, online dogfights. Actually give us the ability to have some online multiplayer aerial battles. You already have the mechanics, just add in multiplayer segments. I think it could work out really well. It may be a lot to do, but I think it's possible. This would be a very huge and ambitious project, but if it were to happen, it could be amazing. I mean, they already basically did it with Starlink, it just needed to have been made as an actual Star Fox game instead, and if it was an actual Star Fox game instead, it would have sold even better, would have done incredibly well. If you can somehow make that and also have a robust online multiplayer to go with it, we could have an incredible experience that I think could definitely make the Star Fox series relevant again. Now, the problem with this idea, it's a lot to accomplish. It's a high budget game that Nintendo may not be willing to invest into to make this actually happen. But I'll say this, we did get that collaboration between Ubisoft and Nintendo, and we got the Star Fox content in Starlink. It was fun. Star Fox's inclusion in the game was definitely something people really appreciated, and it showed in the sales. The Switch version for Starlink sold much better than the other versions. There's a lot of potential here. An actual Star Fox game built up with the Starlink engine or something along those lines would do really well, I think, especially if there's multiplayer to give it more replayability and help it to mesh with the modern era of gaming, which does definitely prioritize online multiplayer. And I wouldn't necessarily expect that the Lilat system would be as big of a solar system as the one we had in Starlink. I would actually expect that the overall world size would be a little bit smaller, but a bit denser with a little bit more to do and more details that make this world feel a lot more like a Star Fox world. I think that's something that people would actually end up appreciating more, and it wouldn't necessarily be as grand in scope, so it could be a little bit easier to develop, especially if we also want to have multiplayer in the game. So, do I think it's possible? I definitely think it's possible. Will it happen? Hard to say, but I do think that if Nintendo's thinking about making another Star Fox game, after what happened with Starlink, I think they're going to think twice about what they should actually do, and I'm pretty sure Ubisoft would definitely be willing to help out with a huge project like this. So maybe it could happen, and if not, I'm sure Nintendo will come up with something interesting for Star Fox eventually. During the Switch era, Nintendo seems to be really hitting on all cylinders here. I think they definitely could come up with a fantastic idea for Star Fox, and it could very well become relevant again. Eventually they'll get it right, I think. Anyways, everyone, those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you think it's possible that Star Fox could become relevant again, and if you do, how could it happen? But that's all for now. Take care.